Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today we're unpacking a fascinating nexus of market efficiency and just raw technological acceleration. We're starting with the hard reality of scale, analyzing how these quant bots accounts like the one formerly known as Jane Street India are, well, they're extracting hundreds of thousands of dollars in minutes.
And they're doing it by exploiting structural flaws in prediction market.
Exactly. Then we're diving deep into how AI has just collapsed web development timelines from, days of work down to a stunning 20 minutes.
And finally, what Tesla's massive year-end really means for every single legacy automaker's balance sheet.
So, yeah, we have a stack of raw trending data fresh off the wire.
And our mission, as always, is to synthesize these nuggets of information for you. We're separating the surface-level hype from the underlying structural reality.
Right. And focusing on those crucial second-order effects, the stuff that actually matters to your portfolio and, your perspective.
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the biggest headline hitting the tech world. The @Tesla 2025 year-end recap video.
It's everywhere.
Monumental reach. And the numbers, they're just dizzying. They hit 9 million vehicles produced globally this year.
9 million.
And they deployed a record 31 gigawatt hours of megapack energy storage. But here's the kicker. Their affordable Model 2. It entered volume production back in June.
And if you look just at the U.S. market, the Cybertruck, which, let's be honest, so many pundits just dismissed it, achieved top U.S. pickup sales.
That's not just a volume success.
No, that's a cultural shift. And of course, they cap it all off with that dangling carrot, right? The optimistic 2026 forecast and the promised robotaxi unveiling.
Which is really what's keeping that stock valuation so high.
It's the primary driver.
It's hard not to be captivated by the sheer industrial scale of it all. We are talking about manufacturing and energy capabilities moving at a pace that few companies in history have ever matched.
But that enthusiasm, it needs a cold splash of cynicism.
Okay, bring it on.
While reaching 9 million vehicles is an insane scaling feat, we have to look past the party. The stock price isn't just rewarding scale.
Oh.
It's rewarding the AI pivot. It's rewarding the robotaxi hype. So the question we have to ask is this 9 million volume number actually sustainable, especially with the global EV market slowing down?
Or is it a distraction?
Or is the 2026 robotaxi tease a very calculated distraction from those very real market challenges?
I see your point, but that Model 2 volume production in June, that changes the game, right?
Yeah.
Independent of any robotaxi future.
Oh, for sure.
Before this, traditional automakers were struggling to compete on price in the mid-range. Now that Tesla has actually launched volume production in the sub-$30,000 segment, what's the real existential cost for the legacy guys?
The cost is absolutely existential, and it hits them right in the supply chain and their infrastructure. When Tesla locks in this level of volume efficiency, 9 million vehicles backed by their own gigafactories, their own battery tech, the margin pressure on everyone from Ford to Stellantis, it just becomes unbearable.
They can't just retool one factory.
No. They need a complete multi-billion-dollar overhaul of their entire supply chain, which is already, burdened by legacy union costs and these ancient distribution networks.
So the 9 million milestone isn't really about selling more cars.
Not at all.
It's about making the internal combustion engine, the whole ICE business model, functionally obsolete by making it just too expensive to compete.
Exactly. It accelerates their need to either radically restructure, which is incredibly painful, or acquire disruptive tech, which, frankly, they lack the capital for right now. The scale is the weapon.
Okay. So from the large-scale market structure of transportation, let's pivot to the microscopic movements of finance.
A very different kind of scale.
A very different kind. We have this viral post from @Gemshangled showing a really mesmerizing visualization of a quant bot's trades on Polymarket.
I saw this. The takeaway is just staggering.
$324,000 net profit in just 25 days. The account, formerly Jane Street India, is clearly not just getting lucky.
No, this is a perfect visual of market inefficiency meeting high-frequency execution.
Yeah.
What's so fascinating here is the strategy. They call it running delta-neutral positions and engaging in spread arbitrage.
Okay, break that down for our learners. Delta neutral sounds like jargon.
It is, but it's simple. It just means they aren't betting on where the contract price goes. They don't care if Bitcoin goes up or down.
So what are they betting on?
They're betting only on the gap between the buy and the sell price shrinking.
So they're exploiting the structure, not making a prediction.
Precisely. The source material is actually quite detailed here. The bot tracks something called volatility compression.
Right.
And it times its entry for when the combined bid-ask spreads. That's the price difference between the highest buy order and the lowest sell order exceeds 4 cents.
And at that moment, it jumps in.
Jumps in on both sides. It enters long and short positions at the same time, which is the delta neutral part, ensuring they're only exposed to that spread, that 4-cent gap.
So they are literally harvesting inefficiency.
That's the perfect word for it. They hold for only 8 to 12 minutes on average, locking in a 4 to 16% return on contracts that are often under $1.
They're not predicting.
They are exploiting the structural fragility, the high friction and the low liquidity that's left behind by, frankly, slower, less informed retail traders.
But hold on, if this platform is designed for a retail user base, shouldn't there be safeguards against this kind of, institutional grade exploitation? Why does that 4-cent spread even exist long enough for a bot to grab it?
That is the core question, isn't it? The spread exists because these prediction markets, they're often decentralized, and they inherently lack the deep liquidity and the robust market makers of, say, the New York Stock Exchange.
So this viral video is basically an ad for how to extract money from retail.
It's an advertisement for institutional extraction, yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it raises a huge regulatory question. If these platforms are structurally allowing this level of arbitrage against their core users, how long until regulators step in?
Or the platform has to do something itself.
Right, or massive countermeasures are forced into place. Otherwise, retail confidence in the entire model just collapses.
That structural critique of automated sophistication, it's a perfect setup for our next segment, the explosion in generative AI, also about scale and sophistication.
A different kind of automation.
Let's talk consolidation with the platform at ImagineArtX. They had a truly massive 2025.
Yeah. Oh, they're celebrating a huge victory. We saw 3 times growth from 2024. They're now claiming 300,000 professional creators.
And 30 million users.
30 million users. And they've rolled out new models like KLang 2.6 for text to video. This isn't just, organic success. It reflects a major shift in the market itself.
Okay, contextualize that for us. How does 3X growth position them in the wider AI ecosystem?
Well, the source material notes that the generative AI creative industries segment hit $4 billion in 2025. ImagineArt's growth, it proves the market is demanding a unified AI creative suite.
All under one roof?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Images, video, voice, all in one place. They're directly positioning themselves against all those fragmented, specialized tools, like Mid-Journey for just images or Runway for just video.
So they're the Swiss Army knife.
They are AI Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
And it seems like the market is choosing that comprehensive convenience over the specialized excellence of a single function tool.
Right. So if one platform can reliably deliver high-quality multimodal outputs, what happens to the little guys?
What is the inevitable fate of those smaller, specialized players? I think they're facing a collapse in market share unless they can pivot, and pivot aggressively toward hyper-niche, high-craft outputs that the big suites can't touch yet.
Which brings us directly to this great tension in digital creation right now, right? The death of the design timeline versus the pursuit of that specialized craft.
This is the battle.
And we see it in 2 contrasting trending posts. On one side, we have at Ishan Pawan's demo of AI website acceleration. He generated a full, polished Tony Stark portfolio website in under 20 minutes using the runnable tool.
And it wasn't just a static page.
No. It was seamless, interactive. It had that mouse-following cursor and Iron Man overlay revealing itself. That is hyperspeed prototyping.
20 minutes for something that used to take a human designer days, or at the very least, many, many hours of dedicated work.
The barrier to entry for a basic marketing site is now basically zero.
Figure zero.
But then you have the other side of the coin. The pure craft demo from @Design by Peepo, animated glass morphic reflect buttons, made 100% in Figma.
And those buttons were stunning. I mean, truly stunning, because they showcased a specialized, highly technical skill, using advanced native effects like background blur, ingredients, and masks to get that incredibly complex, translucent look.
That's design craft.
It is. And the traction proved that skill is still valued, right? 55,000 plus views for a post about an animated button.
So that's the tension we're analyzing. AI delivers hyperspeed generalization.
And the skill for that specialized glass morphism still exists and still commands attention. So as AI lowers the barrier for website creation, Are we just sacrificing innovation for speed?
Or does the AI actually accelerate the need for those niche experts to come in and refine the AI's output, to define that next layer of visual sophistication?
I think we're going to see a massive stratification of the workforce. The middle ground of, generalized web design, it just disappears.
Completely. You're either a prompt engineer guiding the AI to create something average, or you are a hyper-specialized expert, the person who can debug and refine what the AI spits out.
The AI becomes the general contractor handling 90% of the build.
And the craft designer is the highly paid artisan handling that final 10% that defines premium quality.
Exactly.
And that speed and efficiency, that's what the biggest minds in AI are now trying to unlock in their own models, which lets us shift gears deep into the science that could power the next wave. The brain's secret sauce, as introduced by at Dwarkishups in his conversation with neuroscientist Adam Marplestone.
This discussion, it touches on the most profound questions facing AI alignment and AGI. The core mystery is so fundamental. How does the human brain learn so much from so little data?
Right. An LLM needs the entire internet. A child needs, 3 examples to get a concept?
And the conversation also touched on Ilya Sutskever's famous question. How does the genome encode high-level desires, like social status, that only show up after a lifetime of experience?
And Marblestone's argument was that these two things, efficiency and innate desire, are fundamentally linked.
He argued that evolution embeds what he called Python-like learning curricula in our subcortical structures.
So for our listeners, those are the deep, older, instinctual parts of the brain, not the thinking layer on top.
Exactly, the survival and instinct part. He says these innate reward systems enable this really efficient generalization from sparse data. And that is a fundamental difference from current AI, which is all brute force training on massive data sets.
So the brain's efficiency isn't just about the cortex's processing power, it's the scaffolding provided by these deeper, older brain structures that guides learning from the get-go.
Yes. And the discussion posits that brain mapping via connectomics, basically getting the full wiring diagram of the human brain, is the key to unlocking AI advances in sample efficiency and, crucially, in alignment.
But the implication there is profound.
It is. If efficient learning relies on these innate reward circuits, that raises a massive ethical issue about control.
You're talking about engineering desire itself into a machine.
A biologically ingrained reward system that dictates what an AI prioritizes. So we have to ask, what ethical guardrails must be placed on future models that mimic this?
If we engineer an AI with innate desires, how do we make sure those desires align with human flourishing?
And not just with the machine's own internal primal need for, say, resource accumulation or status. It's a deep, weighty point. We should let that settle.
Heavy stuff indeed. Okay, let's move to something a bit more practical, but still infrastructural, easing the entry into open source. At TPM 28 featured a niche but really high engagement post showing off a custom Windows-based installer tool.
This is a huge friction killer for adoption. The utility here is so simple, but it's revolutionary for beginners. You can now install Linux Mint via a simple .exe file.
Right, eliminating the nightmare of creating a bootable USB key.
And easing those complicated dual boot setups. The demand is undeniable, too. Almost 700,000 views. 7,000 plus likes.
It reflects a genuine interest from Windows users in exploring alternatives.
We have to frame this as a crucial infrastructure step for Linux adoption. The easier the entry barrier, the larger the user base can get. And while the tool only supports Mint right now,
the demand suggests a broader trend.
And that poses a strategic problem for Microsoft.
Because convenience means more people might actually try the open source ecosystem.
Exactly. Does this streamlining pose an infrastructural threat they can just ignore? Or will Microsoft eventually be forced to accommodate it?
Meaning they might have to build their own easy dual booting just to keep users within their OS for some things?
It's an arms race in convenience, a fascinating dynamic.
It really is. To close, let's look at the future of innovation on 2 radically different scales. The massive centralized efforts at NASA
versus the hyper-individual creativity of indie 3D artists.
NASA's 2025 recap is all about this monumental global effort. A booming space economy, successful X-59 quiet supersonic tests, preparing for the 2026 Artemis II lunar flyby.
And the Artemis Accords, that initiative involves over 40 nations. This is progress driven by billions in government and corporate spending, highly centralized.
And you contrast that with at 3D XDEV7's Share, a mesmerizing Blender hand topology time-lapse.
Just one artist.
Individual expertise, creating professional, stunning results using simple, free, open-source tools like Blender. leveraging a few key features like shape keys and an add-on for cinematic effects.
This contrast, it just encapsulates the two speeds of human innovation perfectly. On one side, you have the massive global effort of Artemis centralized, demanding monumental resources but pushing the ultimate boundary.
And on the other,
The hyper-efficient, individual expertise leveraging democratized, free software for broadcast quality results at virtually zero infrastructural cost to the creator.
so what ultimately drives faster human progress? Is it the top-down, centralized government projects like NASA's deep space push?
Or is it the decentralized, democratized, open-source creative tools that empower millions of individuals to innovate instantly? Both are advancing human capability, but their resource requirements are worlds apart. It's a powerful thought to wrap on.
It is. So to summarize today's deep dive, market inefficiency is still a quantifiable bonanza for high-frequency strategies.
AI has collapsed the digital development timeline from days to minutes.
And the search for the brain's secret sauce, its sample efficiency, is now directly intersecting with the quest for AGI.
And based on that massive growth in unified AI suites like ImagineArt and the hyperspeed shown by tools like Runnable, I think we know where the market's headed.
Go on, your prediction for tomorrow.
Specialized, single-function generative AI tools, the ones that only do basic images or only do simple videos, they're going to see a sharp collapse in valuations in the first quarter of 2026. The market is aggressively demanding consolidated, multimodal platforms that offer speed and scope.
The one-trick ponies won't survive.
They won't survive the efficiency squeeze. Consolidation is king.
A powerful forecast to consider. I'll leave you with this final thought that builds on that neuroscience discussion. While we celebrate the blistering speed of AI creation, we have to remember the secret sauce of the brain is its unique ability to learn from little data. What happens to genuine human ingenuity when the primary tools we use are trained only on massive data, reinforcing existing averages rather than encouraging those radical, sparse data leaps of human intuition? Something for you to mull over.
Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the data.